Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Of course, the year is 2021. Tom Ford came out with a new addition to this signature lineup. Of course, we're all familiar with Ombre leather. Many of us are probably also familiar with Tuscan leather. Well, in today's video, we're going to be focusing our attention on the brand new fragrance where I'm going to give my first impression of it. This one is Ombre Leather Parfum. I'm excited to give you my first impressions on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my review of Ombre Leather Parfum, more like a first impression if we're being honest, I don't have the full bottle on hand, and I tell you all about this fragrance, what it smells like, how it evolves, what notes are contained therein. I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like perfume reviews or first impressions just like this, but also top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell, and also give this video a thumbs up if you like this type of content. Now, I purchased Tuscan leather many years ago, and you know, with Tuscan leather you have the raspberry, the saffron, you have some spices in the opening, and then of course you also have that suede leather accord. Now with that fragrance, once you give it a chance to dry down, it actually starts to get a little bit smoky. And I personally know a lot of people who are not a fan of Tuscan leather just because it has that smoky, and they actually call it like an ashtray vibe or a cigarette butt vibe. I personally don't get that. I think it actually smells very opulent, very luxurious. The saffron spice sort of adding to that complexity of the leather and that spicy, sweet, refined quality. The raspberry kicks in, and I think it's very well done. Well, Ombre Leather was originally a private blend fragrance. So you had Ombre Leather 16, and then of course they just changed it to Ombre Leather, which is in the signature collection, and then now we have the Parfum version. So what are the significant differences between the original and the Parfum? So the original, you have cardamom in the opening, and it's a little spicy. This one, there's no cardamom, so it loses the spicy edge, but it also has violet and iris. Iris can smell lipsticky at times. At times, it can be a little starchy, but then there's also this note of green tobacco in the base. And so I'm excited to see how different this is from the original. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray it, and I'm gonna give you my initial impressions. Beautiful atomizer on this little decant here, by the way. Wow. So you get the leather right away, and you can tell right away that this is very close to Ombre Leather. If you're expecting it to be a completely different fragrance, just sort of capitalizing off the name, like a money grab flanker, that's not what this is. This actually smells similar to Ombre Leather. And you can see that it's a twisted expression, like a small modification from Ombre Leather. It's similar enough that one can be confused for the other. But then the iris is coming through. And it's interesting because the iris in here does not smell lipsticky, but it does smell a little starchy. So you have the starchiness from the iris. It has this clean vibe that it evokes in the heart, but then violet is also here too. And the violet that's in here, it does give a little bit of that rough vibe that you can kind of expect from fragrances like Fahrenheit by Dior, but it's not a rough, aggressive, spicy leather like its predecessor. Like I said, the cardamom is not included in this note breakdown, but you do have green tobacco in the base. Now, of course, I'm just smelling it based off the opening, and so right now it's still rather fresh, very bright. That starchy iris is in here. This is a cleaner version of Ombre Leather. This is a more versatile version of Ombre Leather. Ombre Leather is more of a bad boy, rugged, or bad girl, I suppose. Kind of rough and tumble. There's a hint of aggression to it, but not like, you know, the type of aggression that is not good. I'm talking about just somebody who has a bit of a bad boy or bad girl-ish demeanor. And I kind of enjoy that about Ombre Leather, if we're being honest. And it's kind of like the no-frills substitute to Tuscan Leather because it also got rid of the raspberry. So there's no raspberry in Ombre Leather. There's also nothing fruity in this one either. So this one is not nearly as dark as Ombre Leather. Basically, if you're looking for the darkest of the three, I would go with Ombre Leather. If you're looking for the most versatile of the three, I would go with this one, just because the iris really opens it up, really cleans it up. It doesn't have the spice that the original does, and the iris also makes it a bit more on the unisex side, if I'm being honest. And so as a woman, if you didn't feel too comfortable wearing Ombre Leather, check out Ombre Leather Parfum. I think it's going to open up the doors to attracting a lot more customers, specifically female customers or lovers of women's perfumes, I should say, because of that violet and because of the iris that's in here. Now, in terms of the tobacco that's in here, of course, I'm not getting too much of it. At the moment, it's almost coming across like a leafy kind of tobacco, as opposed to like a moistened pipe tobacco, Cavendish tobacco, or like a cherry flavored, you know, syrupy. That's not what I'm getting, right? I'm getting something very leafy, very herbal, but I think that that's kind of adding to that floral accord that is already created by the iris and the violet. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I think it's a solid addition to the Ombre Leather lineup. And of course, it's a nice fragrance when maybe you love wearing Ombre Leather, especially if you're out and about and you want to give off a little bit of that, you know, rough bad boy or bad girl demeanor, but now you're looking for something that still kind of evokes that, still has that smooth suede leather accord that you've come to expect from other leathers in the Tom Ford catalog, but you're just looking for something that's a little bit more versatile, a little cleaner, a little more accessible, and something that could double as an office scent. I think this one is awesome for that. So there you go. I'm gonna keep it short. These were my first impressions. I probably already spoke for about 10 minutes. I'm not even sure. But in any case, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my first impressions of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum, please do consider showing your support by subscribing to this channel and enabling the notification bell. This way, whenever I do put out this type of content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. Also, if you would like me to purchase this fragrance so that I can do a full review of it, I'm also more than happy to do that. Leave a comment down below if you would like me to do a full review of this fragrance. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.